It's time for the Checkered Flag on the No Coast Network. 104.9 FM KBOE and all over the world at KBOEradio.com. The Checkered Flag is presented by Mahaska, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, Sigourney Body Shop, Danny's Auto Supply, Quality Car Wash, Morton Buildings, Motor Inn Auto Group of Knoxville, Vanderlinden Detailing, Schroeder Alignment and Towing, Vital Ministries, RJ Performance, and Vanderbeek Truck Accessories. It's time for the Checkered Flag on your station for racing. 104.9 FM KBOE and all over the world at KBOEradio.com.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. Emery Sunger with you. And to start today's show, I am joined with Larry Naylor of the Pizza Ranch. Larry, how's it going today?
Good. Good day.
All right, so first things first, we are now at the Pizza Ranch here to do the Checkered Flag show each and every Tuesday right here on the No Coast Network. And you love racing. You wanted to get this show here. Take us through your love of racing before we talk Pizza Ranch.
Well, back when I was younger, I had ownership in a car, and we raced out here in Eldon and down in Missouri some. And so that's kind of where the interest comes from, and now I watch when I can.
Well, you're going to be watching plenty this year because we're going to be in your store, the Pizza Ranch, and there's always some fantastic deals here at Pizza Ranch. What are some of the things that you'd like the people to know about your store?
Well, I think we always have a nice buffet 7 days a week. It runs between 11 and 1:30 during the week, and in the daytime, and then from 5 to 7:30 during the week, and 5 to 8 on weekends. And we just a little description of the buffet. We've got a whole table full of chicken and everything that goes with it. Some corn for vegetable. We've got dressing. We got macaroni and cheese, potato wedges tonight, biscuits with sausage gravy tonight, mashed potatoes and chicken gravy, and chicken fries. We were just talking about that. They're like a fried potato, but they're chicken flavored. And then we've got another table full of pizza of all kinds, and if you don't like what you see, you can order your favorite and we'll bring it to your table.
Well, it sounds fantastic for anybody that hasn't come out here. Great variety at Pizza Ranch, and this is every single day of the week. So, Larry, this is going to be fun. We're excited to be here. Thanks so much for having us, and we can't wait to see each and every Tuesday.
When they come down for the 7 o'clock show to watch, stop and eat at 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Come a little bit before, eat at 6, and then you can definitely tune in for the show. Larry, thanks so much, and we'll be talking to you again soon. That is Larry. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have some drivers for you. We're also going to do some recaps, including Knoxville Raceway. We'll be breaking down all the action from Knoxville this past Saturday. That's all coming your way on the Checkered Flag right here on the No Coast Network.
Lunatic Promotions is bringing you 2 nights of action with the largest demolition derby in the state of Iowa. Ranked as one of the top 10 derbies in the nation, the T-Bone Memorial Derby is June 9th and 10th at the Southern Iowa Speedway. Come watch hard-hitting drivers from all over the country battle in the full-size and compact class. Don't miss the T-Bone Memorial Derby, opening Friday night, the 9th at 7 p.m. at the Southern Iowa Speedway in Oskaloosa. Like Lunatic Promotions on Facebook.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is proud to announce our Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell exhibit in our museum this season from June 1st through October 1st. Stop in and view 6 of the sprint cars that Sammy has driven during his illustrious sprint car career, and our exclusive Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell t-shirts and posters to match Sammy's race cars on display will be available inside our museum store. That's the Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell exhibit beginning June 1st and running through October 1st. Only at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Ottumwa's only locally owned auto parts store, Danny's Auto Supply, not only offers great prices on the quality parts and supplies you need for your vehicle, they also now offer complete car care. From brakes, oil changes to a major overhaul, Danny's Auto Supply has you covered from A to Z with parts and now a full-time automotive technician on staff. Danny's Auto Supply is located at 827 East Main in Ottumwa. See them for all your auto parts and vehicle needs. That's Danny's Auto Supply, Ottumwa's only locally owned auto parts store.
Sigourney Body Shop is the intelligent choice. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that great service and reasonable prices are the reason Sigourney Body Shop is the #1 body shop in the Sigourney area. They do auto and truck collision repairs, glass replacement, body and paint work, free at-home estimates, are complete service specialists, and they offer pickup and delivery and a loaner car. Sigourney Body Shop at 210 Clark Street in Sigourney, or call 641-622-2022.
Welcome back in live with Checkered Flag here at the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch, and the first thing that we're going to do here on the show is we're going to take you back to what happened this past week in racing, and we'll start with the Knoxville Raceway. Fun action there. Let's go ahead and see what happened on Saturday.
It was another fantastic Saturday night as well in Knoxville, and great racing with 3 classes in action was on the board. The AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Series was the feature on Saturday night, and of course, along with that were the 360s and 305s. Justin Grant shot out from his pole position to start the USAC main event, a 30-lap feature with Robert Ballou and Chad Bosflug in tow. Just 1 lap recorded when a multi-car accident on the backstretch marred things. Among the crashed cars were veterans John Stanbro and Brady Bacon. Nick Bilby, Hunter Schurenberg, and Brody Roa were also involved. Stanbro and Bilby would retire, while Bacon would make extensive repairs and rejoin the field. Tyler Courtney, who was running 4th on the restart, slammed into the turn 1 wall when action resumed, but kept it on all 4s and kept on trucking. The lead trio remained the same, but the action heated up back in the pack. By lap 5, Chris Wyndham had charged from 18th into the top 10. Courtney rebounded and passed Boosflog for 3rd on lap 6, but 8 circuits later he would suffer a vicious ground pounder in turn 2. He walked away from his destroyed machine. Grant led Ballou, Boosflug, Chase Stockton, and CJ Leary back to green. A wicked battle for 5th commenced involving Josh Hodges and Wyndham before Dave Darland, who was inducted in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame in the afternoon, bicycled in turn 2 and came to a stop. While the leaders remained the same, Hodges and Wyndham battled for 5th. Soon, CJ Leary entered the fray, and he and Wyndham went back and forth a number of times for position. No one would match Grant in the end as he sailed under the checkers ahead of Ballou, Boesflug, Stockton, and Leary. Hard charger Wyndham, Kevin Thomas Jr., Hodges, Shane Cottle, and Bacon back from the tail rounded out the top 10. Thomas set a new non-wing 1-lap track record with a lap of 18.549 seconds, while Hodges, Wyndham, Courtney, and Bacon won heat races. Leary took a B main that was marred by a flip involving Joe Bears. He was uninjured in the crash. Wayne Johnson drove around the front row starters, Taylor Malzam and Terry McCarl, and never looked back to record his 12th 360 win. McCarl chased him most of the way, while Clint Gardner settled into 3rd after passing Ryan Giles on lap 3. The event was slowed only once on lap 11 when the 6th place car of McKenna Hassey and the 7th place machine of Jamie Ball came together in turn 1. Hassey spun, collecting Matt Morrow, who crashed into turn 2. He was unhurt. Johnson led the field back to green ahead of McCarl, Garner, Giles, and Malzam. Johnson pulled away the last 7 laps to win over McCarl, Garner, Giles, and Ball. Malzam, hard charger Chris Martin, Austin McCarl, Joe Beaver, and Christian Bowman completed the top 10. Malzam set a quick time, while Hassey, Devin Klein, and Ball won heat races. Chris Walraven was the pace setter early in the 15-lap 305 feature ahead of Matt Stevenson and Ryan Levitt. Casey Grubel slowed to a stop with 4 laps in the books, and Walraven led the field to green ahead of Stevenson, Levitt, Kevin Hetrick, and Tyler Glass. Hetrick shot into 3rd and shot around Stevenson for 2nd on lap 6. Cade Higday entered the top 5 and traded 4th with Stevenson twice. Eric Bridger then entered that battle for position as well. Up front, Walraven was cruising to the bottom, tailed by Hetrick. On the final lap, the leader hesitated behind a lapped car in turn 3. Hetrick made his winning move, sliding across Walraven's nose and dragging to the finish line for his 4th career win in Knoxville. Walraven trailed him ahead of Stevenson, Bridger, and Higday. Glass, Levitt, Matthew Stelzer, Brandon Worthington, and Brad Comages rounded out the top 10. Higday posted quick time, and Stevenson, Dan Henning, and Levitt won the heat races. Things will be heating up on Friday and Saturday this week, June 9th and 10th. The Brownells Big Gun Bash will feature the Craftsman World of Outlaws taking on the Knoxville Regulars. On Friday night, the 305s will be in action, while the 360s will run on Saturday. For more info, you can visit KnoxvilleRaceway.com.
As you can see, plenty of great sprint car action at the Knoxville Raceway. Of course, the non-wing sprints there for the first time in a while. We'll be talking to Bill McCroskey later on in this show, talking about what exactly went down on Saturday. Fantastic action as well. Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and see what happened at the drag strip, Eddyville Raceway Park, and they had 2 nights of racing. Let's start with Friday night. On Friday night at Eddyville Raceway Park, on the no-bar bike class, it was Dennis Bailey from Waterloo defeating Jeff Olson from Eagle Grove. In the modified, it was Tim Sparks of University Park who beat Ray Certucci from Quincy, Illinois. In the junior advanced class, it was Brooke Barta from Sully. She got the win over Gabriel Slifka of Roland. In the junior advanced consolation group, it was Tasha Kirk of Panora getting the win over Jameson Breeding of Carlisle. And the street bike, it was Jeff Olson of Eagle Grove beating Chase Van Zant of Pella. In the top ET, it was Gary Shearer of Des Moines who knocked off Terry Cruz of Agency. In the super ET, it was Ashley Baumert of Sigourney beating Dustin DeHaan of Monroe. In the junior novice, it was Trey Ratcliffe of Panora beating Emma Easter of Des Moines. Junior novice consolation, in that class, it was Cecilia Slifka of Roland beating Max Laffoon of Des Moines. In teen championship racing, Paige Teal of Quincy, Illinois beat Shai Barta of Linville. In the 560 index, it was Patrick Kerr of Altoona defeating Dave Easter of Des Moines. In the 600 index, it was Bruce Van Zant of Pella beating Will Marquardt of Manhattan, Kansas. And then in the street ET, it was Dylan Peterson of Omaha beating Rick Pitzer of Glenwood. And then finally in the junior advanced runoff, Brooke Barta of Sully beating Tasha Kirk of Panora. Then on Saturday at Eddyville Raceway Park in the no-bar bike, it was Patrick Kerr of Altoona who defeated David Ellenbeeker of Marysville, Kansas. In the modifieds, it was Zach Livingston of Des Moines beating Bob Bash of Indianola. In the junior advanced class on Saturday, it was Brandon White of Knoxville beating Matthew German of Sully. Junior advanced consolation had Brooke Barta of Sully beating Austin Easter of Des Moines. In the street bike, it was Jeff Osborne of Eagle Grove beating Scott Parker of Silvis, Illinois. In the top ET, it was Tucker Kenselar beating Mike Van Sant of Sully. Super ET was Rick Pitzer of Glenwood beating Caroline Pitzer, who is also of Glenwood. In the junior novice class, it was Cecilia Slifka of Roland beating Trey Radcliffe of Panora. In the 560 index, it was Patrick Kerr of Altoona beating Dave Easter. In the 600 index, it was Will Marquardt of Manhattan, Kansas beating Chase Cole of Altoona. The street ET, it was Dylan Peterson of Omaha beating Larry Gilman of Corridon. And finally, in the junior advanced runoff, it was Brooke Barta of Sully beating Brandon White of Knoxville. Of course, we have another recap of the Southern Iowa Speedway from Wednesday. You can always check that out on our YouTube channel by going to No Coast Network on YouTube. You can find all of our videos in full there as well and check them out on demand. We'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll start our interviews. Got a good slate of interviews for you tonight. We have Colton Livesey, who's going to be in the Sport Mods. He is going to be talking to us later on. Bill McCroskey from our sprint car correspondent, who's going to be joining us as well. But we'll start everything off after the break with Dustin Griffiths, stock car driver in the IMCAs. We'll be right back after this on the Checkered Flag on the No Coast Network.
Call Terry Schroeder Alignment and Towing in Sigourney for your alignment and towing needs at 622-2269 or 641-660-5515. They feature 24-hour towing. You can trust Schroeder's experience with your towing needs. DOT license and insured. All insurance companies welcomed. For alignment, Terry Schroeder uses the Hunter Alignment System to get your vehicle back on the road in no time. Terry Schroeder Alignment and Towing, 413 West Clark in Sigourney.
Spring is here, and so is racing season. Every race car driver knows how important it is to take care of their car. At Oskaloosa's Quality Car Wash, it's more than just a name. It's what they offer. The touchless car wash has no brushes and won't leave any scratches. There are 4 options to choose from, and all will leave your car looking spotless. Quality Car Wash is located at 1101 A Avenue West in Oskaloosa. Race in to Oskaloosa's Quality Car Wash today.
Hi, I'm Fake Sarah McLaughlin. When was the last time you really gave your car some love? Has your car been the victim of neglect over the winter? Does it have old French fries in places that no one should ever have old French fries? Then wait no further. Pick up the phone and give Jeff at Vanderlinden Detailing a call right now. Give your vehicle the love it deserves, a full inside and outside detail. Make a difference today. Call Jeff at 641-780-0119 or follow Vanderlinden Detailing on Facebook.
Welcome back. We're here live on the Checkered Flag from your Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. Of course, come out, fantastic buffet each and every day. I'm being joined by my first interview of the evening, Dustin Griffiths. Dustin, how's it going?
Good.
First things first, you're from Ottumwa. I'm from Ottumwa. We both have grown up in the same backyard, but you have a long lineage into getting into racing, and you've been doing it for an awful long time for a guy as young as you are. Take us through your career and interest in racing.
Yeah, when I first started, my dad started racing when I was 10 months old, so I've kind of just grown up around it, always wanted to race. Back when I was younger, they wouldn't let you start when you were 14 or 13 like they do now. I had to wait till I was 16, so that's pretty much when I kicked stuff off, was when I was 16.
So was it a situation where you were able to work on the car and learn a lot about the car from your dad as well? You see him have a lot of successful, trips around the tracks down in southeast Iowa. How exactly did you get yourself into a car at that young age?
Yeah, I was always around it out in the garage with my dad. He didn't always like some of the tricks I pulled on him out there. I did some pretty mean stuff when I was a younger kid, and he got mad at me, kicked me out of the garage, wouldn't allow me in there. But the older I grew, the more interested I got in it, and just kind of started helping him out on it. And when I started racing, I started working on it a little more and a little more and a little more, and it just went from there.
All right, so with that being said, as a younger gentleman like yourself, you've been racing for well over a decade now, and just this year you made a very important transition from the hobby stocks into the stock cars. So take me through kind of the decision there to make that move, because these stock car races we've seen at Southern Iowa Speedway so far this season have been just fantastic races to watch.
Yeah, I've raced hobby stocks for a number of years. We always talked about moving up. We wasn't sure if we wanted to get a sport mod or a stock car or what we wanted to do. Money was a big issue, had a sponsor step up and pay for half of the car that we bought, so that helped out a lot, and that kind of made our final decision. We decided to go with a stock car instead of a sport mod, because that's just too much dealing with them bars and stuff on the sport mods. I just like to set it and leave it. So.
Well, so far this season, you've already been up front an awful lot for being your first year in this crazy class and some of the competition that you've been seeing in that division just here in Oskaloosa is really impressive. What have you thought about that transition and your success thus far, being able to run up front for the most part here in Oskaloosa?
I mean, stock cars is definitely a way more competitive class than the hobby stocks. A lot more money, a lot more knowledge in them. I didn't know a whole lot about them going in. I was pretty thankful Roger Kelderman let me drive one of his cars a couple of times last year, and that's the one I ended up buying. And anytime I need a hand or got a question, all I got to do is call him or Caden, and they give us a hand on it. So it's always nice to have a little bit of help. Where
else do you drive? For those who may not know, when you're situated in Southeast Iowa, there are a lot of different places that guys like to try to hit up. Are there other tracks besides Oskaloosa that you like to run on a week-to-week basis?
Here lately, we've been going to Columbus Junction quite a bit on Fridays. Decided to try it out. I'd never been there. Had pretty good luck down there, so we've been keep going back. Run Eldon and Bloomfield on the Saturdays when they race. Been to Lee County a couple times. Been struggling a little bit there this year. Other than that, haven't really been anywhere in the stock car.
Now, for somebody like me who's only been to 2 or 3 of these tracks that you're talking about, what is the difference, and how does the setup on the car kind of differentiate? Do you like to try to keep it as consistent as possible, or are these different tracks? Do you need to do a little bit of different things to put yourself in a good spot to win each time you go to a different track?
I don't change a whole lot on the car. We pretty well leave everything the same, just adjust it from a tacky track to a slick track. Tires is a big deal in the stock cars. You got to be on top of your tire game, take care of your tire prep. Luckily, I got a kid that helps me do that, so that helps out quite a bit on that part of it and gives me a little more time to do other things on the car.
All right, so far this season, Mother Nature, of course, washed us out a few times, but now that you're kind of getting in the groove and you see how much competitiveness there is in this class, where it seems like a different driver is winning the feature in Oskaloosa every single week, what have been your takeaways, and how has your driving style changed? Has it changed at all from where you'd like to kind of drive when you were in the hobby stock to now with the stock car having a little bit more freedom necessarily with being able to use speed to pass some guys?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot tougher class. You got a lot faster guys. You're not going to just go there and win every single race. There's 10 or 12 fast guys at every track, and it's tough. You got to go there and just do your best, learn from your mistakes and make the best of it. I've had some pretty good finishes this year, and I've had some pretty bad ones. I mean, you just got to take it for what it is.
All right, so far, I know that making a car change, but is there a specific kind of feel in the car that you like to have? Do you like to have it kind of loose or tight? Is there a certain spot on the track that you like to be?
Yeah, I'd rather prefer a loose car over a tight. It's just, tight car is hard to drive. I prefer to run the top, but it seems like in the stock car class you're a lot around the tires. So I'm getting better at learning to run down there, and the driving style of the stock car is a lot different than what my hobby stock was, you know. So that changes a lot of stuff.
Winning races, winning features, the heats, the features, having complete nights. We saw you have a tire problem a couple weeks ago in Oskaloosa. You know, a lot of things have to go right, especially in your class, to get wins. Who are some of the other drivers that you compete with, not only in Oskaloosa, that have kind of piqued your interest and you're trying to learn as much just following those guys around the track or watching them drive as you've moved into the stock car?
You know, I just kind of got my own driving style, so I just go with what I'm comfortable with. But I mean, you know, everybody's different on how they like to drive. Some guys, you know, they like to throw it in there. Some guys like to drive it straighter. My driving style's my own. The way I've learned, and I just stick with mine and you know, make adjustments to my driving style rather than try to drive like somebody else does. So.
All right, so this season it's going to be really tough for any one guy to kind of stick out in this stock car championship, especially in the track championship for Oskaloosa at Southern Iowa Speedway. What is it going to take adjustment-wise for you to consistently, not only, we know you just talked about, you know, not the same guy's not going to be able to win every week in this class, but being able to have consistent top finishes so maybe you can come up with the track championship?
You know, I wasn't going out there this year expecting to win a track championship. You know, I'd be happy with a top 5 in points. There's a lot of guys out there that got a lot more years in racing stock cars than I do. They got a lot more knowledge about them than I do. Me and my crew, we're just kind of learning this stock car game as we go, and every night we're getting better and better. So we'll just take it for what it is and go there, and we just try to do our best every night. So.
All right, so we'll get you out of here on this one, Dustin. Your car, it takes a team effort to get the car on the track, not only in the shop, but in terms of people funding it. You talked about a sponsor really stepping up and helping you get into a stock car this year. Who are some of the sponsors that have helped you move along and make this change in your career?
Yeah, I got a lot of sponsors. Pierce Fence stepped up big time this year, helped me with half of the car. They're a really good sponsor. I got Sharkey Frame, Good and Family Chiropractic, Quality Heating and Cooling, Payday Today, Fowler Construction, Pilkington Trucking, Bill's Muffler Shop, Vogel Dirt Works, Overturf Concrete, Atumwa Glass, Riverside Restaurant, Metcalf Auto, Sweet and Saucy out of Fairfield, and then Bingham Signs puts the paint job on it, all hand lettered. We don't go with any wrap like a lot of these guys do. We like to stick with the hand painted. And then as far as crew goes, you know, I got a lot of guys that help me out in the shop, a lot that help me out at the track. My dad, he does a lot of work during the week on the car. Dale Porter, he helps me out a lot at the track. Tyler Heckert, Eric. I mean, I can't thank all them guys enough, you know, that come and support me and help me out. My whole family's grown up around racing, you know, and that's just what we're used to. My mom and dad, they've always supported me in any decision I made. Janelle, my wife, she goes and watches me. Taking my daughter now, she's 8 months old, so that's another thing to look forward to.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, and that's a heck of a sponsor list, by the way. That is one of the longest we've had so far this year. That being said, I want to mention your shirt as well. You're rocking the Brian Clausen. This guy seems to have touched basically anybody who's racing in the state of Iowa and a lot of dirt track racers around the country. What has been his impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, he was an outstanding guy. I didn't talk to him very much. I go to the Chili Bowl every year. I seen him there, spoke a few words with him, you know, buy some shirts and just keep on going. I always liked how he drove on the track. Clean racer, outstanding guy, and so I just support him.
Yeah, I think the entire racing world is better off for him being a part of it, and he certainly has left his mark on racing now. You're looking to leave your mark, sir. If anybody wants to see Dustin Griffiths drive, what's one thing they need to know about you so they can cheer you on Wednesday nights?
I'll do my best. He's about all I can do.
He's a real noble character. Dustin, thanks so much for coming in, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, that's Dustin Griffiths, a driver of the 10G in the IMCA stock cars. You'll see him each and every Wednesday night at the Southern Iowa Speedway in Oskaloosa. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get our sprint car correspondent, Bill McCroskey. He'll be in. We'll talk Knoxville Raceway when we return right here on the Checkered Flag on the No Coast Network.
This is Mike Serig with Vital Ministries, and we are looking forward to this new race season right here in Oskaloosa. We have many options for you race fans to get plugged in on a weekly basis throughout the season. We have a radio broadcast every Sunday morning at 8:30 on KBOE 104.9 FM, and we also send out daily inspirations for both men and women on our vitalministries.org webpage 6 days a week. So don't just sit there and let the summer speed by. Come join us throughout the race season.
RJ Performance wants to remind you that now is a great time to buy an Indian motorcycle. Use your tax refund for something you will love, or take advantage of great financing offers with payments starting as low as $99 per month. They are also honoring our heroes with greater discounts. Get $1,000 bonus for all active, reserve, National Guard, and retired military personnel, plus active and retired police, firefighters, and volunteer firefighters. Get ready for spring with a new Indian motorcycle today at RJ Performance in Ottumwa. See RJ Performance for details. Always wear a helmet, never drink and drive.
April at Motor and Auto Group in Knoxville means new deals on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles on the lot. A 2017 Dodge Journey SXT four-wheel drive is 23% off MSRP and saves you over $5,700. A 2017 Dodge Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 is 20% off MSRP and saves you over $1,000 when you purchase. Or look good in a 2017 Dodge Charger SXT all-wheel drive, saving you over $6,900 with 20% off MSRP. The dealer that's easy to deal with and hard to beat. Motor and Auto Group in Knoxville.
Welcome back in. We are live here from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch as we have another fantastic guest, and he's a regular, Bill McCroskey, our sprint car correspondent. Bill, how's it going?
Good, Emery. How you doing?
Doing good. All right, so now let's just open this up. The non-wing sprint cars were there, always put on a show. You talked about how great they were, and did they put on a show ever there at Knoxville Raceway? What did you see from them on Saturday?
Well, the biggest thing I saw was probably one of the largest Saturday night regular show crowds I've seen in years. I don't like to estimate other promoters' events, but I'd say there were 7,000 people in the grandstands, and that's fantastic, you know, for just a regular Saturday night show. Realizing it was USAC, but still, we don't have a big following like they do in Indiana, Ohio, out that direction of non-wing fans and non-wing cars. So to put 7,000 people or thereabouts just in the grandstands alone, let alone the suites, probably another 3,000. So you're probably looking at 10,000 people in Knoxville Saturday night.
That's an unbelievable crowd. Now, when we talk about the show itself, watching those non-wing sprint cars flying around the track, there's not a lot keeping them on the track. They are bumping and flying all over the track, up and down. So in terms of the racing, it was a good night for racing. Still plenty of yellow flags out, still plenty of accidents, but for the most part, a very nice, clean night of racing and some different winners in not only the heat races, but in the features.
Yeah, and that's a testament probably to Chris Duncan and his crew that preps the track, because you got to have a different track for a non-wing car than you do for a wing car. And if you roll up a ledge, non-wing cars don't like it. They slide up to it and they tip over, and it's just a transition from smooth dirt to a transition of curb dirt. And wing cars can kind of run on that because they're planted over on the left side due to the wing, but non-wing cars don't like it. And they had 35 non-wing cars, which is a fantastic turnout. It was a great show. You had three California natives in the first three places. I'm sure Justin Grant won it. Robert Ballou was second, who came back from a broken neck at Eldora last fall. So for him to get back kind of in the mix, top three, actually a second place finish, was great. And then you had Chad Bosflug, who's actually racing out of Plainfield, Indiana, but he's another California native. So your top three cars were basically California drivers. But that's Southern California, Phoenix, that's kind of cars they race, so they naturally are good at it. Then you got your Indiana area for non-wing cars too.
All right, so seeing those guys here, what's it going to take for these cars to make a triumphant comeback here? Because it has been a little while since they were here last time.
Well, I think they were last year in 2011, and I would suspicion that John McCoy and Kendra Jacobs were more than pleased with the way the show went off, the crowd obviously. So,
and John, of course, is the head of the track over in Knoxville.
Yeah, he'd be considered your promoter or whatever. But Kendra is kind of the marketing director. They kind of share duties, I suspicion. So, but it's all about, you know, when you see 10,000 people between the suites and the grandstands, I would suspicion you'll see them back next year.
That puts on a great show, and without, you talk about regular Saturday nights, it's much like when you go to Oskaloosa on a Wednesday. You go because you like the sport and you see great competition, but we saw some great competition from the regulars in the 305s and the 360s on Saturday as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In the 305 class, Christopher Walraven was just kind of out there cruising, and Kevin Hedrick just never gave up, and Christopher ran into he didn't run into him, but I mean, he was slowed by some lap traffic on the last corner. And when you're in second place, you go where the first place guy isn't. And Kevin went where the first place guy wasn't. Christopher got blocked a little bit by the lap traffic, and Kevin won, I believe, his third feature out of 5 this year. So he was a happy camper. And it was an exciting show. And again, the non-wing people, you probably had a lot of people up in the stands that were never go to a wing sprint car race. They came to Knoxville because it was non-wing, and that race alone right there was a great race too. So I like the cross-pollination of wing sprint car fans with non-wing sprint car fans at an event like that where you got both types of cars.
360s didn't necessarily have the kind of drama on the final lap that the 305 saw, but still a fun race, and McKenna Hassey picked up a heat win as well. We talk about McKenna quite a bit because we talk about that transition you have to make from the 305 to 360. So good to see her, even though she didn't quite finish the night the way she wanted to. Good to get a heat win for her as well.
Yeah, she kind of got sideways bumped, whatever, in the 360 feature and kind of slid up the racetrack. And unfortunately, Matt Morrow had nowhere to go. He did everything he could to miss her, but he just bumped her, but it flipped Matt, and she got back out. They put a left front tire on the car, and I think maybe a steering arm or something in the front suspension. And so she got back out, and I think she finished 17th. But you know, when your car's not right, it's a handful to drive when they're right. When it's not right, they're a real handful to drive. And Wayne Johnson won, like you said, he started 4th. Terry McCarl, who was inducted earlier that day into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, ran 2nd. So he had a good Saturday. He went to the Sprint Car Hall of Fame and finished 2nd. And Clint Gardner finished 3rd, which is not surprising. Clint's always right there. If he's not winning, he's going to run top 2, 3 right in there. And then Ryan Giles and young Jamie Ball finished 5th, a local Knoxville kid. So it was a great, it was still a good show. Wayne probably won by 8 or 10 car lengths, but back in the pack there was racing everywhere. So the fans, they got a good show.
And what I like about the difference with sprint cars versus what we see with the stock cars and the sport mods is the fact that the moves are just a lot different. When we go back and we look at the video and we see with the highlights, some of these passes, you talk about the sliding on the inside and trying to get that car to stick when you head into that next straightaway. What kind of, for somebody who hasn't watched a lot of sprint cars, especially with the non-wings, describe the difference it is to try to handle those cars, because you see those guys, they are really fighting the steering wheel as they try to make some moves on the track, because it just seems like it's happening a little bit quicker when you're in those smaller sprint cars. Well,
it is happening a little bit quicker, you know. You're talking 130 plus miles an hour going into the corners in a wing sprint car. The non-wing cars are about 2.5 to 3 seconds slower than wing 410 cars, but that's still plenty fast. And you are correct. There's a lot of dicing and moves that go on, and the big difference in sprint cars versus some of the other classes that you talk about, you make a mistake in the sprint cars, you're going to pay for it. You're going to end up like we saw some of those guys in your earlier film clips laying on their lid in the back straightaway. And you know, it's 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, well, a week ago, we talked about the guy that went clear out, Alan Zoot. So there's punishment. If you can lean on a guy when you got fenders on your car, you lean on a guy with an open wheel car, probably both of you are going to go for a ride, and it's not going to be a pleasant ride most of the time.
And that's what we definitely have seen the last, well, really all season in Knoxville. We talked about it. It just seems like a pandemic of yellows and reds that we've been seeing. But the racing still has been very good now.
Absolutely.
Still another good special week coming up this week. What are we in store for? As I believe another group is going to be swinging through Knoxville on Saturday.
Right. You have the World Outlaws. That's the premier group. And it's a 2-day show, Friday and Saturday night. Friday night, they'll run the 305s with them. Saturday night, they'll run the 360s. So you won't have 3 classic cars. You'll have 2 classic cars. Should be a pretty fast, snappy show, of course, depending on, a lot of things. But you'll have probably somewhere in the area of 35 to 38 again, winged 410 sprint cars both nights. And you'll have your 22, 20, some low 20s on the 305s and probably low 20s on the 360s. So both nights you're going to see upwards of 60 sprint cars in 2 different classes. But Donnie Schatz, who's won 11 of the last 13 Knoxville Nationals, he'll be there. Just your top 410 sprint car guys in the country will be there. And both nights, like I say, are full shows, all new show. Doesn't matter where you finished Friday night, you'll come back and race again Saturday night.
Well, I'm very excited, of course, for that, and we'll recap this next week as part of the Checkered Flag. And Bill, as always, your insight and your understanding of the sprint car world, very important to us. We appreciate all that you do for us. Thanks so much, and we'll be talking to you again very soon.
And Sunday night, the All-Star, Tony Stewart's All-Star Circuit of Champions will be at Burlington, which is in the viewing area. So keep that in mind. I'm talking NASCAR Tony Stewart. He owns those. And on another note, Knoxville doesn't have a pizza ranch, so I invite all the Knoxville fans to come over here. This place is easy to find, just east of Penn Central Mall. And I love Pizza Ranch, and a lot of other people do too. So hope they come over from Knoxville since we don't have one over there.
Absolutely, and you can't beat that buffet.
You bet.
Man.
Thanks again, Emery.
No problem. That is Bill
Buddy.
McCroskey. He is our sprint car correspondent here on the Checkered Flag, and it's always good to hear from him with the big weekend coming up for Knoxville Raceway. We'll take another break. When we come back, our final interview of the evening on the Checkered Flag, Colton Livesey. He'll be joining me. He's a sport mod driver here for the IMCAs. That's coming up right after the break on the Checkered Flag on the No Coast Network.
At Pepsi, we think it's important to celebrate stuff in life.
Like when you text that really cute guy you met at a party on Friday, and he immediately texts you back. You celebrate with an ice-cold Pepsi.
Or your friend turns on the radio, and your absolute most favorite new song just happens to be playing. That calls for a Pepsi, too.
Because when you and your roommate order a pizza, and the delivery guy throws in extra breadsticks no charge?
Break out the Pepsi.
Hi, we are Caleb and Carissa.
And Kate.
And our dad is Boomer. You know the guy that owns Vanderbeek Truck Accessories. If you're in need of truck or SUV accessories, come see our dad. He offers what you need to be riding in style. He'll make your truck cool, and he'll make you smile. Call 628-9350 or stop on the east side of Pella on Oskaloosa Street. Tell Dad the kids sent you.
Lunatic Promotions is bringing you 2 nights of action with the largest demolition derby in the state of Iowa. Ranked as one of the top 10 derbies in the nation, the T-Bone Memorial Derby is June 9th and 10th at the Southern Iowa Speedway. Come watch hard-hitting drivers from all over the country battle in the full-size and compact class. Don't miss the T-Bone Memorial Derby, opening Friday night, the 9th at 7 p.m. at the Southern Iowa Speedway in Oskaloosa. Like Lunatic Promotions on Facebook. Contact Jim Vavra with Morton Buildings when you want to build something that lasts. Jim grew up in New Sharon and currently lives in Oskaloosa. He has 30 years of sales and marketing experience, with 4 of those years focused on selling confinement buildings. Jim looks forward to meeting you to discuss your new farm storage, insulated workshop, hobby building, and more. Call Jim Vavra with Morton Buildings at 641-919-2838. Morton Buildings, America's leader in post-frame construction.
Welcome back. We are live here from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. We appreciate you for joining us and battling through our technical difficulties, but we'll make sure that this show in full is going to be available on our YouTube channel. Check it out, No Coast Network. My final guest for the evening, Colton Livesey. Colton, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, first thing anybody notices if they're watching this thing on kboeradio.com or watching it on MCG, you are a young fella. How did you get going into the racing industry, and how on earth did you end up in a sport mod at this young age?
Well, it's just always been a family deal. My dad raced when I was a younger kid, and when I was 8, I got started in go-karts, and then around 14, I moved on up into sport mods.
When you were 14, you moved into sport mods. Yep. So have you been racing at Southern Iowa Speedway and some other tracks around? I see the North Mahaska shirt, so you're not from too far away, but kind of where did you start in terms of the location of the places that you were kind of cutting your teeth in the racing business?
Oh, I got my go-kart start at Newton Kart Club, and from there we just kind of ran touring series and all over, and then the sport mod, I started off at Clark County Speedway and then Donaldson and Bloomfield. Then we moved up to Oski, and once we really hit Oski, we just went everywhere and got a lot of seat time.
Getting a lot of seat time is something that you're going to get when you're going 3 or 4 different places. So this season, have you also been kind of hitting different tracks? What are kind of your favorite tracks to hit on a week-to-week basis?
Oh, this season we've just been sticking to Oski Wednesday nights and Columbus Junction Friday. Saturday we moved around a little bit, been to Bloomfield, Eldon, and West Liberty.
All right, so that definitely gets you a lot. For a sport mod, a little bit different than the stock car and the hobby stock. Got the open wheels, and it's very competitive. Curtis Vanderwall has done a heck of a job so far this season. But so far this year, you know, you got a little bit of experience on you. What have you noticed this season that might be a little bit different from the previous years?
Oh, it's just the same old Oski. It's just tough to get a hold of, and we normally run up front anywhere else we go, and we've been struggling a little bit this year at Oski, but we'll get it figured back out.
You know any specific adjustments that you're looking to try to make, because it is not only Curtis winning, but there's been multiple drivers who have won the features, but it's very competitive up front on a night-to-night basis.
We won 3 out of our first 4 races, and we kind of got away from our setup there, and we got that back on it now, and we're just going to start over and go from there again. So hopefully we'll be a little more competitive tomorrow night. We'll see.
All right, well, that's one thing that people need to know about. But in terms of driving a sport mod versus a go-kart, is there much difference there? You didn't get a chance to, you know, like we were talking to Dustin Griffiths earlier, the hobby stock to the stock, there's a huge difference in the way that that car handles and drives and the rules in place for each particular class. What did you have to relearn, if anything, going from the go-karts into the sport mods at such a young age?
Go-karts prepared me pretty well. It wasn't a hard transition. It's just feeling the chassis roll and the left rear wrap up under you and just kind of getting the feel for driving a full-size car.
All right, so the full-size car, and you got obviously have people helping you out on the car. Who are some of the sponsors and people in the crew that you like to mention here tonight? Because this is one of those situations in any racing, you know, community. It's really important to have good people around you. Who are the people that kind of help the Colton Livesey car out?
Well, my sponsors: Highland Prairie Trailer Sales, Coral Carpentry, Two Rivers Trading, Doug's Four Wheelers, Monty Motor Parts, Proline Scooters, East Market Grocery and Deli, Beyond Elegance, B&B Blasting, JV Custom Cues, Nuts Graphics, and Scott Versteg.
Wow, that's another lengthy list of sponsors, and that helps a lot when you have issues with the car trying to fix it. It doesn't get too physical out there in the sport mods, not typically. It's just good, you know, racing in its purest form, just trying to be faster than the other guys. So for people that aren't necessarily, you know, able to understand what it's like to be in a modified or a sport mod, what is kind of the idea? How are you trying to pass somebody that is about the same speed as you? Are trying to use some drafting to the air, trying to find a different route along the racetrack? What are you trying to do in the middle of a race to try to get past that guy in front of you?
You just really got to watch them and find their weakest point and figure out how to get better there, and just be searching around, looking for the moisture constantly throughout the race.
Is there a specific spot on the track, especially in Oskaloosa, that you like to try to ride, or is that one of those things on a night-to-night basis you just kind of try to figure that out in the hot laps and the heats?
Well, you just got to go out there and find where it feels like there's the most moisture. I prefer it to be around the top rather than the tires, but a lot of times at Oski it's around the tires.
And we've seen almost every class be running almost exclusively down low for the faster of the cars. What is the difference for you from this track to, you know, Clark County or Lee County Speedway or at Columbus Junction or Eldon or Bloomfield? What are the different kind of setups that you might like? Do you try to run the same setup? What are the different approaches that you have at each of those different tracks? Because when you go to a place like Eldon or Bloomfield, it's a little bit smaller than what Oskaloosa has. What are the kind of different approaches that you have for each track?
Well, we try and keep the same setup on it everywhere we go. We just move some bars or make minor changes for different tracks, but Oski's just so big you get strung out, and some of the smaller tracks is just a lot tighter racing and you got to be more on your toes.
All right, so in terms of the adjustments on a car, a lot of guys like it to be tight, a lot of guys like it to be kind of loose. Some guys like it neutral. Some guys have told me that it just kind of depends on the night and where the grip is on the racetrack, what they like to drive. What are the kind of, how do you like the car to kind of feel when you're out there?
Well, ideally perfect, but if not, maybe a little snug.
Well, I mean, I'd like to drive a perfect car as well. So how do you balance all this racing with your normal life? Because, I mean, let's be honest, you're wearing a North Mahaska football shirt. You have other things that you do in life. How have you been able, from 14, to be able to balance racing 3 or 4 nights out of the week?
I go to Penn now. I was just finished my sophomore year there. I work during the day and just kind of work in the car at night when I can, and it's a full-time process, just fitting it all in.
So how did you do it in high school? I mean, there's plenty of responsibilities you had in high school as well.
Just stay up till your work's done and start over the next day.
And you just were cool with that from start to finish?
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful to be able to do this, and it's something I care so much about. It's more than just a hobby.
Well, if you've done it as much as you do it each and every week, especially when you're talking about the level that you're doing it at a sport mod, it is important. Now, in terms of William Penn, we're in Oskaloosa. We're in actually the Statesman room here at William Penn, or at the Pizza Ranch, with all William Penn University stuff all around us. What are you studying at William Penn, and what kind of led you to the decision to go to Penn to further your education while still racing 3 or 4 nights out of the week?
I'm studying industrial management in the industrial department, and I came to Penn because it's close to home and I can keep doing what I love to do and work on the car. So.
Yeah, and when you talk about that, what I find interesting, I went to Penn as well, the idea of being close to home. I'm originally from Ottumwa, so being able to see my old friends or be around my family was very important. But it's kind of been able to be a pretty quick transition. You're only 10 minutes away from where you grew up. When you get in the middle of summer, as kind of the classes back off a little bit, how much time on a week-to-week basis are you in the shop working on the car or on your way to a track and racing every single week? Like, how many hours? It's like a full-time job when you count the race time as well.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, you could racing 3 nights a week at least, if not 4 some nights or some weeks, and then it's pretty much just, you never can do enough to the car. You're always working on it. There's always something that can be done.
And what kind of stuff is constant? Are you constantly working on the car? There's so many adjustments that you can make that before you get to the track, or do you like to get to the track and make even further adjustments after you get a couple of laps in you?
No, we try and get everything done in the shop. The biggest thing is making sure your tires are good and siped, ground, everything done there, keeping things washed, and checking every bolt over on the race car, making sure you're not going to lose the race in the shop.
Absolutely. Okay, so do you get any help from other people that are in the shop, helping you work on the car, helping you get the parts that you need, and helping you in the pits when you're at each track? Who are some of those people that help you out?
Yeah, obviously I couldn't do this without my dad, John, and Corey Roseboom. He's there every night helping us. Brad Vaughn comes down to the pits and helps. Eric Jones and Brett Lowry's there whenever I need him for setup questions, anything. He's willing to help.
Well, it sounds like you're definitely off to a fantastic start to your racing career here around the Southeast Iowa region. Last thing, I asked Dustin this question, I'll ask you this question. For somebody who hasn't, thought about rooting on Colton Livesey in a race at Southern Iowa Speedway or anywhere really, what do the people really need to know about you that makes you a driver that they should care about and they should cheer on for victory?
I'm not here to make friends or get second.
If you're not first, you're last, right?
Yeah.
Colton Livesey, thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on a great start to your career, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
That's Colton Livesey. He is driver number 29 in the Sport Mods and the IMCA division. And we will take one final break. When we come back, we will tie a bow on the show, wrap things up here on the Checkered Flag on the No Coast Network.
Lunatic Promotions is bringing you 2 nights of action with the largest demolition derby in the state of Iowa. Ranked as one of the top 10 derbies in the nation, the T-Bone Memorial Derby is June 9th and 10th at the Southern Iowa Speedway. Come watch hard-hitting drivers from all over the country battle in the full-size and compact class. Don't miss the T-Bone Memorial Derby, opening Friday night, the 9th at 7 p.m. at the Southern Iowa Speedway in Oskaloosa. Like Lunatic Promotions on Facebook.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is proud to announce our Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell exhibit in our museum this season from June 1st through October 1st. Stop in and view 6 of the sprint cars that Sammy has driven during his illustrious sprint car career, and our exclusive Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell t-shirts and posters to match Sammy's race cars on display will be available inside our museum store. That's the Salute to Champions Sammy Swindell exhibit beginning June 1st and running through October 1st. Only at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Ottumwa's only locally owned auto parts store, Danny's Auto Supply, not only offers great prices on the quality parts and supplies you need for your vehicle, they also now offer complete car care. From brakes, oil changes to a major overhaul, Danny's Auto Supply has you covered from A to Z with parts and now a full-time automotive technician on staff. Danny's Auto Supply is located at 827 East Main in Ottumwa. See them for all your auto parts and vehicle needs. That's Danny's Auto Supply, Ottumwa's only locally owned auto parts store.
Sigourney Body Shop is the intelligent choice. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that great service and reasonable prices are the reason Sigourney Body Shop is the #1 body shop in the Sigourney area. They do auto and truck collision repairs, glass replacement, body and paint work, free at-home estimates, are complete service specialists, and they offer pickup and delivery and a loaner car. Sigourney Body Shop at 210 Clark Street in Sigourney, or call 641-622-2022.
Welcome back in one final time here on the Checkered Flag Show, live on, of course, the No Coast Network, KBOEradio.com, and, of course, on 104.9 FM KBOE. We appreciate you for joining us. Let's go ahead and recap what we had tonight. Of course, we'd like to thank Dustin Griffiths, Colton Livesey, and Bill McCross for coming in and being our guest. This show, of course, in its entirety is going to be online. You can check it out on our website, KBOEradio.com, and you can check it out on our YouTube channel and search No Coast Network on YouTube, and you can find that out. We will be covering plenty of racing action the rest of this week. We'll start tomorrow night on Wednesday night. It is going to be the Southern Iowa Speedway races as usual, with the Southern Iowa Speedway pre-race show beginning at 6 p.m. on 104.9 FM KBOE, as Jeremy Fox will have some interviews with some drivers, sponsors, get you ready to go for another fantastic night of racing. After that show, be sure to stay locked in, as we're going to have live coverage from the Southern Iowa Speedway for the races, lap by lap, turn by turn, as the Fox man will be bringing it to you starting around 7:15 or so, with the racing beginning at 7:30 on 104.9 FM KBOE, all over the world on KBOEradio.com and the KBOE mobile app. Also paying close attention to the big T-Bone Memorial Demolition Derby that's coming up on Friday and Saturday, also at the Southern Iowa Speedway. This is one of the fantastic events. Always goes to charitable donations, always gets some of the best demolition drivers around. It's going to be a fun one, folks, so do not miss that. Head over to the Southern Iowa Speedway on Friday and Saturday and check out the T-Bone Memorial Demolition Derby. And we chatted with Steve Turlow from the Lunatic Promotions that puts on the T-Bone last week, and he, of course, very excited about this year's event. So be sure to check that out on Friday and Saturday at the Southern Iowa Speedway. Eddyville Raceway is still going to be in action this weekend, as is Knoxville. 2-day show, Friday and Saturday, as we talked about with Bill earlier on in the program. Of everything else that we're going to be following, the figure 8 racing is also really starting to heat up in the month of June. We'll be getting you some video for that and making sure that you get all of the dirt racing that is happening, as well as the drag strip over at Eddyville Raceway Park all season long. Our next Checkered Flag Show is, of course, going to be here live from the Oskaloosa Pizza Ranch. We, of course, thank them for helping us in terms of getting this show up and running. You can always watch this show live here from the Pizza Ranch if you would like, as you have a fantastic buffet that goes from 5 to 7:30 each Tuesday night. They have, of course, the chicken, everything that goes with that, the full pizza bar as well. So be sure to check that out next Tuesday before our show, which goes live at 7 p.m. on KBOEradio.com, 104.9 FM KBOE. You can watch the live video stream, of course, on MCG Channel 7 and KBOEradio.com. I'd like to thank our guests once again, Dustin Griffiths, Colton Livesey, and Bill McCroskey. I'd like to thank our director, Miranda Keeler, and our board operator back in the studio, Titus Letzring, for helping us out all night long. Be sure to check out the entire show by going to our YouTube channel, No Coast Network, and searching Checkered Flag. You can also check it out on our website, KBOEradio.com. For the entire No Coast Network crew, this is Emery Songer signing out for another edition of the Checkered Flag right here on the No Coast Network.
This has been the Checkered Flag on your station for racing. 104.9 FM KBOE and all over the world at KBOEradio.com. The Checkered Flag has been presented by Mahaska, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, Sigourney Body Shop, Danny's Auto Supply, Quality Car Wash, Morton Buildings, Motor Inn Auto Group of Knoxville, Vanderlinden Detailing, Schroeder Alignment and Towing, Vital Ministries, RJ Performance, and Vanderbeek Truck Accessories. This has been the Checkered Flag on 104.9 FM KBOE and all over the world at KBOEradio.com. This has been a production of No Coast Network. This has been the Checkered